Hi everyone. Sorry, I don't have a flip camera on the recording function. So I can't say hello, maybe? Yeah, I can like this. Hello. Um, I just went for a walk up to where I have Kalele. And it's across the fields from Orte where where we did her burial. And I needed to see if I could go there and sit. It's a beautiful place. It's got a view all around. It's the top of the hill. And so I had like an experience, I guess, walking there. I didn't make it because I took the wrong road. Um, so I ran into this man who owns these kennels right here on my way back. He's got like, I don't know, 30 dogs in little concrete boxes for hunting. And I know this is pretty typical around the world, especially also in Hawaii. Um, and I had some experiences. I took some beautiful pictures I'll post now of cats that came out to greet me and dogs who are totally in these big properties, loved pets with like a whole acre running around, and they came up. Instead of barking at me, you could tell they were people dog because they started rolling on the grass and wanting me to pet them across the fence. So I took these pictures. I'll post them after this video or before the video or something. But I guess only people in Hawaii will really understand this. Some people in Hawaii. Alignments of clouds and trees. When you say something, a bird flies right across that alignment. And I had a spiritual, religious light moment. It wasn't like I've known I have known to have them. But and I'm just trying to reconcile. I'm just trying to have a point to this. It's a small little political point, but I'm taking a long time getting there. Yeah, I'm just, with people tell me things like, I know how you must be feeling. And really what I'm thinking about is, how good of a life did I give her? And the only thing that really hurts me is that I let her suffer the last week. And it wasn't suffering. She really didn't suffer. She was just really tired, and she couldn't go up the stairs and couldn't walk the last couple of days. But, she was still just standing around, looking around, not really wanting to walk. But I'd carry her down the stairs to go pee, and then I'd carry her back up. And this only lasted for about, what's up, guy? This only lasted for about a week, so I don't feel terrible about that, and I feel good that I didn't put her through operations and recovery and then dying anyways in this horrible vet's office or something. All that part I feel good about. I'm really learning a lot about how much we become attached through giving, through altruism, through giving, through thinking of others. Like I was commenting, telling my friend on that that maybe I'll look at her sleeping mattress or her dog bowl or something, and it really won't. You would think those are really stark reminders, and that's not what would make me tear and get emotional or cry. But it was like suddenly when I was doing something in which I put a lot of thought towards her, and it has nothing to do with material things, because, for example, her collar, I wanted to buy a Hawaiian looking collar before we left Hawaii to remind me of Hawaii, and we found one with roses, and she wore that all this time that we've been back in Italy. The last 6 years she's wore the same collar of roses, and I actually buried her with it. I took it off and I laid it across the sheet, and before I wrapped it with her blanket, a blanket that was given to me by an old lady in Alviano before I went to Hawaii, which was her blankie, and I always brought it with me when I was going around with a backpack to Argentina. I still had a little blankie. It's always there in the pictures, and so I wrapped her in that when we put her where we did. Can't really talk much about that, but anyways, but yet I'll think of this green leash that I had lost, and I went out of my way to look for the same exact one in Italy, which I never used anyways, but I had it just in case she needed to use a leash, and that made me cry. It was very strange. But so what I learned is that you get emotional about the times that you loved. And I think that makes sense. The times that you loved, not that they gave you love, or that somebody or some animal meant a lot to you, but the moments in which you did something for them out of love. And those are the things that make me cry. I've calmed down. I haven't cried today. It's been 4 or 5 days. Anyway, so getting back to the point before I make this too long. So I was into this man's house where he said he invited me. I said, when he told me he had a bunch of dogs in kennels, I could hear them, but I wasn't sure they were theirs, his. I offered right away, beyond any good common sense and realism, to commit, as I always do when I offer something, dive in. I never know to go back on my word. To come walk them, take them out, because we were talking about how you no longer had much time for them, and by the way, the pictures of the donkey and the horse, that's his little piece of land. So at one point he invites me to come in and see them, check them out. I really, I'm kind of still in a somber state. If I was a little more lucid, I'd make up an excuse because I know what I'm about to see, but this time I didn't think fast enough, and I just followed him in, and there they were on concrete slabs walking around poo-poo. And I mean, he's a neat, organized guy, and he immediately took out the hose and started washing down the concrete. And I mean, there were like 30 of them, each one with their little kennel, or 2 or 3 in a kennel, depending on the size. And it's all under these, I forgot the name of it, the metal roofing, sheet metal, the undulating pieces of metal that you put on the roof. I forget what they're called. It's all under that. Little boxes inside a bigger roof, and I'm under this space in the dark and the dinge, and his watering, splashing, spraying my legs as he's hitting the pavement of these kennels, and I'm thinking to myself the horror of him now leaving, going home and leaving them in this little space all by themselves for days, until he comes back to throw the fucking cereal on the ground for the horse, and right next to its own shit. You know what I mean? And so then so I'm walking away before I press start, before I started recording. because I had a thought. And my thought was, you know, you have these progressive, organic green dictators like Trudeau saying we're all now going to bow to, you know, mutilating children and all these harsh, you know, shifts of society, not caring what 60% of the people are saying, and that 40% are completely appalled. That 13-year-old children are asking to no longer, to the court, protect them from their dad because the dad will call him a she, a he, and he wants to be called a she, and she wants to get ready for transgender surgery, and she's only 13 years old, and Trudeau's like riding, you know, gaining votes on popularity, and this whole power of politicians riding on all these absurdities. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, if I had all that power, because he has a lot of power, he can say, like, let's paint Montreal as Disneyland, and everybody has to do it, and the whole city will be pink the next week, or blue or purple, or everybody will go live in tents, and everybody will do it because it's a way to whatever. Everybody's just doing whatever they're told, right? Even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's crazy, even if there are things that are 100 times more important. That's the times we're living in, right? And I'm thinking, if I had all this power, damn, I would pass laws saying you cannot have dogs in kennels anymore. You know what I'm saying? You cannot have dogs fucking jailed, enslaved in concrete boxes anymore. You can keep maybe only 5, and you cannot leave them alone. They have to have caregivers, and you have to walk them, and they have to have space, and you have to give them 10 hours of sunlight and walking around, and you really got to take care of them. You can't just leave them a whole week inside a cage. And that would be a great law that Mr. Trudeau could pass with his power. But no, what are these people thinking of? They're thinking of changing the sex of our children surgically and subjecting people to a lifetime of medication just so that we can say, hey, we can make ourselves the opposite sex. It doesn't matter if it's medically kind of grotesque, and we end up killing people anyways through medication and through horrible surgeries where we have to rip off the skin of other parts of their bodies, and they get infections and they die anyways. No, but we want to be able to say we can change the sexes of ourselves. I mean, nothing more ridiculous has happened in recent civil, social, political history. And yet no one is saying, stop torturing parrots and transporting them in tubes, and stop keeping animals in cages. Stop thinking of keeping people in prison as a mathematical equation that's equivalent to their crime. Think of how to recover their psychological ill state, to see if they can once again appreciate life and want to be good people and feel accepted by society and realize what they've done, instead of thinking of how many years can we pile on top of people and let's build more concrete boxes to put them in. No, but they're not thinking about that, are they? They're not thinking about how to be good, really be good to people and to animals. They're thinking about experimenting medically on children. So why is anybody saying anything? Well, I am. And I really hope a lot of people hear this. I really hope a lot of people see this video of Orte, where Kalele spent her last 6 years, and is now in a beautiful place in an Indian kind of open air thing that I did with a wonderful friend of mine, crazy, but wonderful Irish friend, who were both on the same page with Ireland, and I love that. And but anyways, he's really busy and too busy with being married and working, and for us to cultivate a friendship. But I'm really glad that we had that experience together, where we took Kalele in his car to where we did, and she is where she is. Aloha, goodbye, namaste, thanks for listening.